So back on the 17th, I posted a video taking a look at a Samsung folding phone prototype that was shown off at CES. Now, I titled my video, "Is this Samsung prototype a sneak peek at the Z Fold 5?" And you can see the thumbnail that I used there. Now, a lot of other people published articles and so forth about this prototype. However, their titles tended to be a little bit more aggressive. Let's look at some. Galaxy Z Fold 5 prototype. It was not a Z Fold 5 prototype. It was a folding device prototype whose hinge used a water drop crease mechanism, which is rumored to be in the Z Fold 5. That is not the same as it being a Z Fold 5 prototype. This headline, I'm going to be straight up honest with you, is misleading. You would click on this expecting to see a prototype of the Z Fold 5 when instead what you're going to be shown is a prototype of a generic folding screen, which happens to share some features with what we believe the Z Fold 5 will be. And the Digital Trends are not the only ones that did this, because if you Google Z Fold 5 prototype, you're going to see all manner of articles and videos where this same sort of thing was done. And I'm really happy because today we finally get to learn a bit more about this prototype, because before all we knew was that it folded flat and that made it thinner than the Z Fold 5. This is another view of the picture that I showed you in my original video. Now we know that not only does it fold flat, not only does it have that new water drop or dumbbell crease hinge mechanism, we now know this does in fact have the capability of folding both directions. It is a 360 hinge. Rose, everybody. And I think that that last bit really underscores my point that no, this is not and never was a Galaxy Z Fold 5 hinge prototype. The Z Fold 5 is not going to have a 360 hinge, okay? It never was. It's not going to. So that was not an accurate headline in my estimation. So what we have here, like I said, 360 hinge, and I think this thing looks fantastic. And we've seen LG show off something really similar several months back. Of course, I talked about that in the context of Surface Duo 3. If it was going to be going to a folding OLED, perhaps it would have a 360 folding mechanism so that you could maintain tint mode and phone mode and all of these postures without having a cover display. We now feel quite strongly that it is going to be much more like the Z Fold 4 and 5, where it's going to have a cover display and a 180 hinge. But it's still really interesting to see Samsung also working on this tech. I think that there are some obvious benefits to going this route, namely the fact that you don't have to have a cover display, and that is going to aid in making the device that much thinner. You just don't have to have an extra display in there. In fact, I would bet money that later on, if they keep refining this, it could get even thinner than this potentially. We could start approaching Surface Duo levels of thickness. Or you could leave the thickness in a more manageable state like it is now and simply have more room for more internal components like bigger batteries and things like that. Of course, you can also see that it is folding flat, which is fantastic to see. In this posture here, you can see it opened up and folded all the way back around in what you would kind of consider to be Surface Duo's phone mode. Obviously, if this were a real device, I would hope that it would take on a form factor that was less Z Fold-like and more, shorter and wider, because again, I just feel like that sort of display, that thin, is just too thin for me. But if you look at this, this really does look a lot like the Z Fold, except it has a 360 hinge. The big question, though, is when is this going to actually be available in phones that are shipping? When is it going to be ready for prime time? And the answer to that question is probably not anytime in the near future. Like I said, LG showed off something really similar, probably more than half a year ago. And of course, we've not seen anything ship with it yet. 180 hinges have not been totally perfected yet. So don't expect a 360 hinge like this coming anytime soon. We do believe that Microsoft probably did play with a 360 hinge prototype for Duo 3, but I'm sure there were many, many reasons why they decided not to go that route. Durability, there's probably just many factors right now with that sort of device. And one thing that would really concern me is scratching this edge of the device while it was open. Hopefully it'd be a situation where, you're just gonna keep it always closed the other way around when it's in your pocket to keep that stuff protected. But still, just holding it like that with a screen on the back and a screen on that edge seems to me to be a little bit of a recipe for disaster. Huawei has had a similar phone in the sense that it didn't fold 360, but it folded in that direction, and that was a little bit of a problem 4 is. So guys, there you go. There is a quick update on that 360 hinge, the device that I showed you guys back a few days ago. No, it is not a Z Fold 5 prototype, but it will let us kind of imagine a little bit what that Fold 5 is going to look like, because the Fold 5 will be folding flat like that, and that is the aspect of it from the pictures we can see here that I think we should be paying most attention to in regard to the Fold 5. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on more news like this. I'll see you guys on the next one, and until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.